NBS chat room.
Hey, all right, we're just going to continue this conversation, but of course I've got to say thank you to Larry Casuals. They make sure that your style is up to date. They take care of your look, whether it's a wedding, whether it's a party, or just your wardrobe you want to revamp. They take good care of that. So I say thank you. For hair and your beauty needs, you go to Caritas Hair Garage in Kamocha and we'll take good care of you. We're in Champisi in Mukono district, and Champisi meaning Haina, but Cha and Pisi is Haina. Yeah. Champisi then would translate to the Chihaina. Oh, the place of highness. Yeah. I was going to the Chihaina. The place of highness. Yes, and the place of highness. And you were saying why you chose the name Champisi?
Yeah, because it's the name of the community where we first encountered cases of child sacrifice.
Okay.
And our efforts, we wanted to be able to impact the community.
Okay.
Although now we reach out nationally, but yeah.
Speaking about the community, now, because I'm trying to relate to the perpetrators, I feel like people have been brainwashed to believe in certain things, spiritual things. And I feel that some sensitization also needs to be done to the community, in the community, to help curb that. I mean, while we're working these ends, then we also have to run ahead and just kind of sensitize to stop that, to prevent that from getting there. Do you ever get to speak to the communities? I know I watched a video, one of the links you sent me, where you brought a witch doctor to actually talk to them. Yep. Just tell us a little bit about your work within the community to help your mission.
Yeah, we started with our immediate community here, where we are establishing a community center and rehabilitation for kids. So most of the people here are aware, and they will call us for responses of suspicion. We've gone to areas of Buyikwe and Mukono, teaching children in schools about stranger danger. We have gone ahead to teach kids about taekwondo to defend themselves, self-defense.
Self-defense.
We've meeting with community leaders to get response alerts where there is any worries, and also to teach them that you don't have to kill a child to get wealth. We have also engaged reformed witch doctors to train communities.
Reformed witch doctors?
Yes.
Wow.
That the witchcraft, most of it is manipulate.
Yes.
And most of them use chemical reactions because it's about creating fear of your client or whoever has come, so that they trust and respect.
So make-believe, yes.
And so we do those tricks in front of community members so that they see, oh, most of them are like, oh, I went to the witch doctor and they did that. Now I know.
How dumb of me. And I spent my money, which I don't have, trying to look for money, which you won't get.
The witch doctor will close the window and you are in the dark, and then he will get out a stick and beat you. And then he will tell you the spirits are beating you. So we told them, when they start to beat you, go with a small torch and put it on when they beat you, and you see the guy has a stick.
A stick in his hand.
Yeah. And then these people that change voices, they dig holes in the shrines. And then they had real people in those holes, and they put a carpet or mat on it. And then they are like, you think the spirits are speaking, but somebody's just changing their voices. My name is Caritas, I'm coming. My name is, so you think the spirits are speaking, because when you entered, there was nobody.
There's no one else.
But somebody was sitting in the middle and others are undercover. And we've done that and showed them this is how. We've actually done undercover and have proof of that. So it's manipulative.
I was watching one of the videos, and it actually really, really freaked me out, because it was an enactment of a real situation where you went to the shrine, the witch doctor that you got to arrest, and where he was telling you how they'll do it, what they'll do, if you will get blood from them, or they will. And he was just talking about it like he was talking about a chicken or a goat or something. How did that make you were there as well? Yes. How did that make you feel sitting in that moment and having to hear all this?
You have to compose yourself because you had an agenda.
Yes.
Of
keep calm.
undercover and keep calm. I have been in a shrine where a child has been brought
While you were
for
there.
treating, and we were undercover. Of course, the child wasn't being killed, but he was being
the little.
tortured.
I think I saw it. Yeah.
They will kill a chicken, and the blood oozing out of the veins, and they will straight splash it into the face of a child. Of course, the child is traumatized. He's crying on top of his voice, and he's sensing danger. And then of course metal, they make noise and they will walk around and they are literally manipulating people. And it's for me, any child that goes to shrine should be banned. The children shouldn't go to shrine.
Yeah.
They should. Because anything can happen there.
How do we manage that then? Okay, because most of these cases happen, we don't have, okay, I don't know, but I'm imagining most of these shrines are outside the district, outside the CBD, outside Kampala, let me say, on the outskirts of Kampala and then outward. Yeah? So we don't know what's going on until we hear a story. When it's late, it has happened, or when we hear about Peter's job, Peter's mission, and then we come to see you and we hear from you. What is it that we need to understand? How can a government come in here? Because churches, we want control of churches. We need to know how many are being opened here and then and all that. How can we do the same?
For example, if a doctor can't open a clinic without government approval, you have to go to the district, they assess you, and you see people in the light. Likewise, even churches, you can't start a church and pray in the dark. These questions there. There's not been a concerted effort or plan whatsoever from the government to be able to regulate these people in their operations. How scientific are they?
Yeah.
What kind of herbs? There is herbalism, which is acceptable, and then there's sorcery and witchcraft and magic, black magic, and all that people use. And most people hide in form of herbalism. Even in Kampala, they are there. You just don't see. They just changed face from the traditional shrines. They are now advanced. So the government needs to come up with national action plans and laws that define what is witchcraft and what is acceptable in that form of belief, because people have their own freedom of worship. Yeah. There is that. But freedom of worship that infringes and manipulates people, even within other, is horrible. So government should deal with its fear, or the individuals within that are supposed to respond, and act and create mechanisms of safety there. There's no safety at all in most of those shrines. And who should go there? I personally think no child should go into a shrine, but that's my opinion. Yes. But because you can use the statistics on the number of children that have been killed in the shrines, and you make a decision. There needs to be a definitive law on what needs to be done. But like government responding on HIV/AIDS, I think this is another form of pandemic that needs to be addressed immediately. And especially after seeing that little angel that was beheaded and head brought to the gates of the parliament. I'm not even going to try to figure out the story behind it, but the fact that that head was brought to the parliament gates, it means, for me, I'm looking at it differently, and I'm saying maybe it's time. It's now. It's like the volume has been turned up now. Yeah. It's now or never. I'll tell you a story, Caritas. We've been going to Parliament for the last 9 years. I have written about 6 letters to the Speaker. The Speaker one time attended our event, which we organized at the Serena Hotel probably 8 years ago. The members of Parliament came to championship here. We brought all children nationally we are working with. Nobody had a dry ear. They said, we are going to do something. We're going to try to act. We are going to tell the Speaker. The report was made, and the report was not addressed. In the last couple of months, we did it again, and through a private member's bill, we've been trying to push that they enact a law that prohibits human sacrifice and other harmful cultural practices or witchcraft practices.
But how can they then do that bit of the human sacrifices? Because then the shrines are scattered everywhere. There could be one in a corner that you don't even know of. How do you think they would then have control or get to know?
Well, there are elements within that law that will prosecute people.
Okay.
If they find you with the human body parts, that should be an offense. Where did you get them? Whichever form they are, there is no law that addresses that. Witchcraft and all that stuff. To assess, there should be an inquiry.
Yes.
What is the importance of this type of practice, and how is it relevant to our society? But that bill, of course, we've been pushing for the last couple of months, and the Minister of Finance refused to give us what they call the certificate of financial implication. They said any bill that comes should not inflict financial burden to the government or the consolidated fund. Well, maybe that's okay, but if a government doesn't put finances in an issue like child sacrifice, when children are being killed, where will they put it? In my opinion, any child thing that comes to child is urgent, but they have reasons. So we are still pushing for that, and then the law can come. But the law is just retributive, but there is a situation on the ground that needs tiger reaction from the government.
Yes.
That needs to be addressed. People should come up and condemn it. You don't have to be with a child in your home, but speak about it. Let's come up with protective mechanisms locally to be able to address it. But of course, for me, I think it's a fear. The
fear of the other brainwash that
I hate to say, but Caritas, this is a political season, and we have had more cases in political times than any other past time. And you're playing in politics, of course. In 2016, we had 46 cases.
What's the relationship, you see?
There is a relationship, not only here, because if you go to Tanzania, the members of parliament went there, and the research they found out there was kids of albinos who were attacked, killed highly in political time, and they target the hands because they say if you take the hand and you're a politician and you wave to people, they will...
You seek favor. That's favor from the people.
So there is an element of politics, business attached to these ritual matters. Why the head was taken to parliament, of course, I don't know. For us who have been in this, we sense a relationship. But of course, investigations are going on. Research has shown that politicians are involved. Again, to the extent of Ugandan involvement, we don't know who, but the research and statistics show us. And so when you're appealing to politicians to change law, there is politics. And unfortunately, or there is no lack of resolve to support. When we use statistical data, politics and child sacrifice, there's a relationship. Business favors and wealth and child sacrifice, there's a relationship.
And when we're talking about children, because there's a time when there was a lot of murders happening in Kampala mostly, but there were adults. We had girls. There were many girls who were getting murdered, killed, and they were mostly above the ages of 20. And people really tried to talk, people tried to make noise and all, but I'm now bringing it back to the children who are normally below the ages of 15. Yeah. Mostly, and they're all they're boys and girls, depending on what the people want from them. I want now to move away from there and talk about the police, because police are the first respondents, right? What needs to be done in that area? Because also them, if they get the shrine, they're afraid to enter, and yet they are the law enforcers. They are the ones who are meant to be on the front line at that moment. Yeah. What needs to be done in that area while now we're trying to figure it out on all fronts?
The challenge with these particular cases is you have two individuals here involved, mostly the victim and the suspects. And you need a very scientific, forensic supported investigation to prove a case if there is a suspect. If there's a survivor, you need
protect them.
You protect them. So the investigations in these, even others, is immediate, radical, scientific, and highly expensive. And police, we have an MOU with police to work together. So we support and respond to these cases, and they support us very well. And most cases we've worked together, we have succeeded and have been able to arrest some suspects. Unfortunately, the challenge with it is that the police is very, very lowly funded.
Yeah.
So you go to police and the case is victim funded. Now, a family who has lost a child and you
they're already
them,
living
okay,
on nothing.
Somebody has killed, we don't have a car. Do you have a car? They don't have a car. Do you have fuel? Do you have telephone? So there won't be that immediate response. You reach the scene of crime and it has been tampered with by the community. So you have to do so much to be able to prove a case that way. So especially cases in the village areas.
Yeah.
Of course, this case that just happened at Parliament has a very high political interest, and so it is being investigated more than any other. But I tell you, a week before that case, we had a child in Kapchora who was kidnapped and killed. A week before, 2 weeks before that, we had a child in Luero, 2 years, who was killed. We had a child in Mubende who was killed. We had no interest at all. We had a child in Machindi who was killed. There is no interest. The child was not killed but survived, and the hand was cut off. And even up to now, the investigations are not complete because they take long. So we come along with police and fund those processes to have a conclusive investigation. Because if you don't have one, you can't sustain a prosecution in court. Yeah. And then we work with the DPP to be able to prosecute these cases. So I don't know how the government will do this, but policing for me has a lot of gaps and a lot of underfunding. It is a fact that needs to be addressed. And also training in the issues of
response
witchcraft.
And witchcraft.
Yes.
Like have more of those, like the video I watched of a witch doctor actually come and just show you exactly what happens in a shrine. I think that needs to be done a lot to sensitize the masses.
Exactly.
Which would be inclusive of the police as well.
Yeah.
So they are also aware about what they're going in for.
Yeah.
Every child deserves a chance at life. Whether the child is in the deepest or the remotest of places, whether they live below 5 pence, I don't know. Every child, as long as they come onto this earth, they deserve a chance at life. And right now, I am going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep shouting. I'm going to make sure you listen. It is time for us to take action. Just because it's not your child or just because you have no ties to these children doesn't mean you turn a blind eye. And we shouldn't choose which cases are more important than others. Every child deserves a chance at life, a future generation. All these children have been robbed of their future. Some of them are still alive, but again, they're finding it hard to live life because either they were mute, their arms were chopped off, or maybe they can't walk, they can't sit, they're in rehabilitation. And we sit by and watch. The time is now, like we've said. Faith has shone this light, and we're going to make sure that everyone listens. We're going to make sure the government and the necessary individuals get to take their first step. So we're still watching the chat room, and today's story is a very, I don't know, it's a special one. It is a very, very special one because it's like no other show that I've had on chat room. We're still having this conversation. We're going to wrap up, but not completely. I'm still talking to Peter here in Mukono at the Champisi Child Rehabilitation Ministry.
Champisi Child Care Ministries.
Sorry?
Champisi Child Care Ministries.
Child care. I don't know if I say rehabilitation. Yes. Champisi Child Care.
Ministries.
Child Care Ministries.
But we run a rehabilitation center.
Yes, I think that's why I kept moving between that. Yeah. So we're in Champisi Child Care Ministries here in Mukono in Champisi.